Welcome back, my friends. Today, we begin an extraordinary journey, not just through rockets, cars, or companies, but through the life of a boy who dared to dream when no one else believed in him. A boy who would grow into one of the most influential people of our time. His name, of course, is Elon Musk. But before the headlines, before Tesla and SpaceX, before Mars and memes, there was a quiet child, sitting alone with a book, hiding from the noise of the world. And it is there, in the silence of his childhood, that the seeds of his greatness were planted. Elon Musk was born on June 28, 1971, in Pretoria, South Africa. His father, Errol, was an engineer, practical, logical, sometimes distant. His mother, May, was a model and nutritionist, glamorous, hard-working, and strong. When Elon was just 9 years old, his parents divorced. He lived mostly with his father, but their relationship was not easy. Later, Elon would describe his childhood as lonely, sometimes painful, often confusing. At school, Elon was different. While other children played games, he read books. While others chased balls on the playground, he chased stars in his imagination. This difference made him a target. He was bullied, beaten, even once thrown down a flight of stairs so badly he ended up in the hospital. But here lies the first turning point. Instead of fighting back with fists, Elon fought back with imagination. He turned to science fiction, to comics, to stories of space and machines. He discovered that books could be friends, teachers, and escape routes all at once. When he was 10, Elon's life changed forever. His father bought him a computer, an old Commodore. To many kids, it would have been just a toy. But to Elon, it was a universe waiting to be unlocked. Within months, he taught himself to program, and at just 12 years old, he created his first video game, a simple space shooter called Blastar. He sold it for $500. Think about that. A lonely boy, bullied at school, had already built and sold a product before most kids even knew what they wanted to be. It was a small victory, yes, but it revealed something essential about him. Elon Musk would never be satisfied with simply consuming the world. He wanted to create it. By the time Elon was a teenager, he already knew one thing. He could not stay in South Africa. Apartheid divided the nation, opportunities were limited, and Elon felt his destiny was somewhere else. He dreamed of America, the land of inventors, entrepreneurs, and explorers. At 17, he made the bold decision to leave. With little money, no safety net, and no clear plan, he moved first to Canada, where his mother had citizenship. He worked odd jobs to survive, cleaning floors, shoveling dirt on farms, even cutting logs in the cold. He saved every dollar, every penny for his future. He was not living in luxury, he was living in survival. But beneath that struggle burned a vision. One day he would not just live in America, he would shape it. In 1992, Elon won a scholarship to the University of Pennsylvania in the United States. There, he studied physics and economics, a combination that reflected his unusual mind. He wanted to understand the deepest laws of the universe, but also the practical rules of money and business. Friends noticed that Elon was not like other students. While others were chasing parties, he was chasing ideas. He would spend nights discussing space travel, clean energy, and the future of humanity. Even then, he was asking big questions. How can we colonize other planets? How can we end our dependence on oil? How can technology save, not destroy, the world? To Elon, college was not a finish line. It was a launch pad. After graduation, Elon knew he had to act fast. The internet was rising, and he wanted to be part of the wave. With his brother Kimball, he founded his first company, Zip2. Its goal was simple but ahead of its time: provide online city guides to newspapers. But simple on paper was not simple in life. Elon worked day and night, often sleeping in the office. There were no weekends, no vacations, only code and coffee. At times, the company seemed destined to fail, but Elon's persistence was stronger than the doubt around him. In 1999, Compaq bought Zip2 for $307 million. Elon's share was $22 million. At 27 years old, he was a millionaire. Most people would have stopped there. But for Elon, money was never the goal. Money was only fuel for bigger dreams. Soon after, Elon founded XCOM, an online banking company. People thought he was crazy. Who would trust money on the internet? They asked. But Elon saw what others didn't. He believed digital payments would one day replace cash and checks. XCOM eventually evolved into PayPal, and in 2002, PayPal was sold to eBay for $1.5 billion. Elon's share, $165 million. He could have retired young, lived on yachts, played golf in the sun, but that was not Elon. Because deep inside him still lived the boy who dreamed of the stars, and now, finally, he had the resources to chase them. ESL Checkpoint 1 Imagination. The power to create pictures and ideas in your mind. Entrepreneur. A person who starts and builds businesses. Persistence. Continuing to try, even when things are hard. Practice sentence. Elon Musk used imagination and persistence as an entrepreneur to turn small ideas into world-changing companies. So far, we have followed Elon from the quiet corners of his childhood in South Africa to the bustling world of Silicon Valley. We have seen him bullied, bruised, but never broken. We have watched him sell his first video game at 12, sleep on office floors at 24, and walk away a millionaire at 27. But Act 1 is just the beginning. Because the real story, the story of rockets exploding, cars doubted, companies nearly collapsing, and a man standing at the edge of ruin, comes next. In Act 2, we will watch Elon risk everything, lose almost everything, and then rise higher than anyone thought possible. By the year 2002, Elon Musk was already rich. He had millions from the sale of PayPal, more money than most people could dream of. But remember, Elon never wanted money for luxury. He wanted money for possibility. And so, instead of buying mansions and islands, he bought a dream that sounded like madness: space. Elon believed that if humanity stayed on Earth forever, we would eventually face extinction. Climate change, asteroids, wars, pandemics. He saw them all as risks. The only solution in his mind was to become a multi-planetary species. In other words, we had to colonize Mars. So in 2002, he founded Space Exploration Technologies, better known as SpaceX. Its goal was outrageous: build rockets that were reusable and affordable, cutting the cost of space travel by 90%. But Elon was not an aerospace engineer. He had no experience building rockets. To many, it looked like a billionaire's fantasy, a toy project destined to fail. And fail it did. At first, the first SpaceX rocket, the Falcon 1, launched in 2006. It lifted into the sky, engines roaring, hearts pounding, and then it exploded. Millions of dollars burned in seconds. Critics laughed. "See," they said, "this is why you leave rockets to NASA." But Elon tried again. In 2007, the second launch, another failure. The rocket reached the sky, but not orbit. More money gone. More headlines mocking him. Still, Elon did not stop. In 2008, the third launch. This time everyone was watching, and once again, failure. 3 rockets, 3 disasters, nearly all of his fortune gone. By this point, Elon was not just losing money, he was losing credibility. People called him reckless, delusional, arrogant. Some employees doubted him. Friends urged him to quit. Even his personal life was collapsing. His marriage to Justine was ending in divorce, and the pressure of business nearly broke him. It was, as Elon himself later said, the worst year of my life. And yet, Elon had one more chance, one more rocket, one final hope. If it failed, SpaceX would die. September 28, 2008. The fourth Falcon 1 stood on the launch pad. The countdown began. Engines roared. The rocket lifted into the sky. Minutes passed. The world held its breath. And this time, it worked. The Falcon 1 reached orbit. Cheers erupted, tears flowed, and Elon himself broke down crying. After years of ridicule, after pouring every dollar and ounce of energy into the dream, SpaceX had finally succeeded. That single launch saved the company. It also attracted NASA, who awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract to deliver supplies to the International Space Station. In one moment, Elon Musk went from the brink of ruin to the future of space travel. But Elon was not risking his fortune on rockets alone. Back in 2004, he had joined a small startup called Tesla Motors. Its mission? Build electric cars that were not boring golf carts, but sleek, powerful machines people would actually want to drive. At the time, the idea sounded absurd. Electric cars had failed before. Gasoline was cheap. Big automakers laughed. Who would ever buy an electric car, they said. But Elon believed in Tesla. He invested millions, joined the board, and eventually became CEO. He pushed for innovation, design, and relentless improvement. The result was the Tesla Roadster, a sports car that proved electric could be fast and sexy. But success did not come easily. Tesla struggled with production delays, money shortages, and technical challenges. By 2008, as SpaceX rockets were exploding, Tesla itself was nearly bankrupt. Elon faced a nightmare choice: save Tesla, save SpaceX, or lose both. Most people in his position would have chosen safety, but Elon Musk is not most people. He took every dollar he had left and split it between both companies. He even borrowed money to pay his own living expenses. It was a gamble so risky that failure would have destroyed him completely. And for months, it looked like he would lose everything. But then came a miracle. In the same week that SpaceX succeeded with its fourth launch, Tesla secured emergency funding and avoided bankruptcy. 2 near deaths, 2 last-minute rescues, 2 companies saved by the narrowest margin. Elon himself later said, "My choices were either invest in Tesla and SpaceX or let both die. I couldn't let them die." The years that followed proved that gamble was worth it. Tesla released the Model S, a sedan that critics called the best car ever made. SpaceX developed the Falcon 9, capable of carrying heavy payloads into orbit, and both companies, once mocked, began to dominate their industries. But it is important to remember how close it all came to ending. The world now sees Elon Musk as a visionary billionaire, but in 2008 he was a man standing at the edge of bankruptcy, his companies collapsing, his marriage broken, his reputation shattered. And yet, he refused to quit, because for Elon, failure was not the end. Failure was data. Failure was proof that he was pushing far enough. He once said, "Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough." And that philosophy became the fuel that carried him forward. ESL Checkpoint 2, bankruptcy, when a company or person cannot pay their debts. Gamble, a risky decision that could succeed or fail. Innovation, creating something new or better. Practice sentence, Tesla avoided bankruptcy because Elon took a gamble on innovation, refusing to give up. So now we have seen Elon Musk at his lowest point. Companies collapsing, money gone, relationships broken, and yet somehow he found a way not only to survive, but to rise. SpaceX launched into orbit. Tesla avoided bankruptcy, and suddenly, the man everyone called crazy was being called a genius. But this was not the end, because Elon Musk's vision was never just about rockets or cars. It was about humanity itself. In Act 3, we will explore how Elon turned his eyes to Mars, to tunnels under cities, to computers in our brains, and to the legacy he hopes to leave for his children and for all of us. When most people look at the night sky, they see stars, beautiful, distant, unreachable. But when Elon Musk looks at the night sky, he sees something else. He sees homes. He sees cities. He sees the next chapter of human history waiting to be written. After the narrow survival of Tesla and SpaceX, Elon could have played it safe. He could have slowed down, enjoyed his billions, and left the risk-taking to someone else. But that is not who he is. For Elon, survival is not enough. Humanity, he believes, needs a backup plan. That plan is Mars. At SpaceX, Elon and his engineers began working on the most ambitious rocket ever conceived, the Starship. Unlike traditional rockets, which are used once and discarded, Starship is fully reusable. It is designed to carry not just astronauts, but hundreds of people, along with cargo, equipment, and the seeds of a new civilization. The early tests were dramatic. One after another, prototypes exploded on the launch pad or in the sky. Critics mocked him again. Memes spread online of rockets bursting like fireworks. But Elon stayed calm. Failure is the path to success, he reminded his team. Each explosion was data. Each crash was a lesson. And slowly, success came. Starship prototypes began to land safely. Flights reached higher altitudes. In 2023, a historic test flight proved that Starship could launch, separate, and re-enter Earth's atmosphere. The dream of reaching Mars was closer than ever. But Elon Musk's vision is not limited to the stars. Here on Earth, he sees problems that demand bold solutions, traffic, for example. In cities around the world, millions of people waste hours every day trapped in cars, going nowhere. Elon's answer was the Boring Company, an idea as simple as it was radical. Dig underground tunnels where electric vehicles could move at high speed. The goal was to replace endless traffic jams with smooth, fast, and quiet underground highways. Then came Neuralink, a company so futuristic it sounds like science fiction. The mission? Build a brain-computer interface, allowing humans to connect directly with machines. At first, it sounds frightening. But Elon explains that if artificial intelligence continues to grow, humans must find a way to keep up. Neuralink could help paralyzed people walk again, cure neurological diseases, and maybe one day allow thoughts to travel instantly across the world. And then there is OpenAI, which Elon helped to found. Its purpose? To ensure that artificial intelligence benefits humanity rather than destroys it. For Elon, AI is both the greatest opportunity and the greatest danger we face. It is easy to see Elon Musk as a machine himself, always working, always pushing, always building. But beneath the headlines and the chaos lies another role he values deeply: fatherhood. Elon has 10 children. He admits he is not a perfect parent, but he tries to pass on the values that shaped him: curiosity, persistence, and the courage to fail. He even built a private school, Ad Astra, to educate his children in a new way. Less memorization, more problem solving, more creativity. In interviews, he often says, "If there is one thing I want to teach my kids, it's to never be afraid of hard work or failure." Despite his fame, Elon lives simply. He has sold most of his houses, sometimes sleeping in a tiny home near SpaceX's launch site in Texas. Why? Because for him, possessions are distractions. Dreams are what matter. Of course, Elon Musk is not without flaws. His tweets often spark chaos. Markets rise and fall based on his words. Critics accuse him of being reckless, arrogant, even irresponsible. And yet, his defenders argue that his boldness is exactly what makes him effective. He speaks without filters because he believes the future cannot wait. This duality, genius and chaos, visionary and disruptor, makes him one of the most polarizing figures of our time. But whether you love him or hate him, you cannot ignore him, because he is changing the world before our eyes. So what will Elon Musk's legacy be? Will it be Tesla, leading the world into a future of electric cars? Will it be SpaceX, sending humans to Mars? Will it be Neuralink, merging man with machine? Or will it simply be the lesson that nothing is impossible when you refuse to quit? Elon himself has said, "You get one life. Don't waste it being afraid." He knows Earth is fragile. He knows our time is short. And so he pushes himself and us toward a horizon that most of us can barely imagine. ESL Checkpoint 3 Civilization. A large group of people living together with laws, culture, and technology. Persistence. Not giving up, even when things are very difficult. Controversial. Something that causes strong opinions, both positive and negative. Practice sentence. Elon Musk's persistence helped him build companies that are both revolutionary and controversial, shaping the future of civilization. And so, my friends, our journey through the life of Elon Musk comes to an end. From a lonely boy in South Africa, bullied and bruised, to a man building rockets, cars, and dreams for billions. His story reminds us of one truth: failure is not the enemy, fear is. Elon's life shows us that the path to greatness is never straight. It is full of falls, crashes, bankruptcies, and heartbreaks. But if you hold on, if you refuse to let go of your vision, you may rise higher than you ever thought possible. So as you step back into your own life, ask yourself, what is your Mars? What dream seems so big, so impossible, that others laugh at you for even thinking about it? And are you brave enough to chase it anyway? May you, like Elon, dare to dream beyond limits. May you persist when others give up. And may you one day look back and say, I built something that mattered. I left a mark on the world. Keep dreaming, my friends. Keep building. And remember, the future is written by those who are bold enough to create it.